how are you? How is the lockdown treating you?
I'm all right. Another sunny Sunday. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, fine, perfect. So what happens today? Where are we? What is this? Is this cinematic? Alberto, is a parallel life. Am I dreaming?
We're again. Sunday is week 5, and still full of love, full of films. We are one Sunday more sharing a Vermut, sharing this moment of connection, because we need it, you and I. I think mostly because we need it with the rest of cinematic audience. So it's week 5, CinemaAttic Vermouth. Welcome everyone, those who are joining now, those who are already live. Welcome everyone. What is cinematic, Rafa? Let's do the classic housekeeping stuff.
CinemaAttic is a flying circus we set up about 10 years ago to promote independent Ibero-American cinema in Scotland. Since then, we managed to get a regular gig going on in Edinburgh and in Glasgow every month. We have been in London, in Manchester, in Leeds, in Dundee, in Inverness, and there's plans to go to so many other places the minute we are allowed to do so. So that's it. We show films. We show them in a socially conscious way. We show films that matter, that provoke a conversation. And we fancy ourselves that one of those conversations may change the world one of these days. So we keep trying, online, alive, or as far as there's somebody who wants to listen to us.
And what is Cuarentena? Again, this Cuarentena project, obviously I can see people are starting to join. I see David, I see Bea, how are you? How's your life? It's been a while. This Cuarentena initiative, obviously, we had cinematic turns 10 years in 2020, and we were planning events in Edinburgh, in Scotland, in the UK, and we moved the programs that we prepare for events to online. So it's not the same, but we think that at least we can have, we really enjoy the conversation, the comments, watching which short films you like, which ones you're voting. So we moved all the programming online to this Cinematic Cuarentena project, and every week we share a program of 7 short films, part of a bigger 90 short film selection. It's somehow contradictory to say 90 essential Spanish short films of the last decade. No, the word essential sometimes requires a small rank like 10, 15, but we went for 90 essential short films, and we're going to be sharing them. It's great to see Saskia connecting as well. So many friends. Welcome everyone. We're going to have a Vermut together. And if last week we were saying that we talked with 4 directors that we love and we hope we can bring in the future, today I'm particularly excited because we're going to reconnect or catch up with 2 directors that have been in Scotland, that we had the pleasure to have them in Scotland in the last couple of years. And they are big names. I don't know why these people keep joining this small circus, Rafa. Ventura Durall, Izibene Oñederra, these are big names.
Well, there are 2 of the directors we have been following and showing their films from the very beginning, didn't we? From the Slow There Ahead to, well, the last one we are showing this week, the Sonriur. Oh my God.
Your Catalan is improving.
My Catalan is perfect. It's perfect. Un poquito de acento vallecano, a little bit of Vallecan accent, but it's getting there. We had that amazing first stratum. We showed it last year in our Catalan Film Festival. Was it last year? No, it was the year before, wasn't it?
When? Which one?
First stratum, the one about the nursery.
In the same year, we showed both last year. First,
yes,
Primer Strat and Yo La Busco, no? And Ventura was here presenting both as a producer and as a director.
And so many others. And with Izibene is the same. I mean, between her own films and films where she takes part, we have been showing her films, and we had the pleasure of her company as well last year, about this time last year, when we did our last Basque Spring in Scotland. Well, that program actually went across London, Manchester, and Leeds too, Glasgow and Edinburgh. And this is one of the projects that we had to cancel this year because obviously it's not the right time to do, because the right atmosphere, and it's difficult to see. Next year we'll do it.
It's a bit more, sorry, Rafa, it's a bit more dynamic than usual. I'm moving a little bit more, mainly because the sound issue I was telling you. I'm going to see if this works. Let me see. Can you hear me there?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yes, oh, much better. I'm just getting a couple of earplugs, and this is way better. I'm going to use this.
Yeah. Perfect. Yes.
Here we go. Sorted.
Here we are. So what else we had this week in our weekly program?
Before we crack on, Rafa, if you allow me, we're going to chat, obviously, as always, about the films, and we want to see your comments about the films. Hola, Andrea. Glad you made it. Welcome to the Vermut. I was going to say, it's week 5, and we have spike on visits and more people watching the short films and joining the initiative from Latin America. No, we have a particular spike from Córdoba in Argentina or Buenos Aires. We had a lot of people from Ciudad de Mexico. We had a lot of people from Cali. So that's brilliant to see. And also a particular thanks to the people that have voted already, to the people that have voted their favorite films, people like Val, it's great to see you and the great taste you have. Monica, I have here Alan, our lovely Alan. It's great to see Alan Cody, and then he always does a wee review. It's really great. It means a lot in this situation to still have that.
We miss so much our monthly event, and see the friends and see our regulars. I'm really missing it. I'm really looking forward to another cinematic soon.
I'm enjoying a lot to see Ollane in Basque. We struggle with the Basque Ollane, but I think she's one of the supporters watching and sharing from Córdoba in Argentina, not from Córdoba, Spain, Córdoba, Argentina. So thanks for sharing, and thanks for keep voting and sharing your passion for the films. Marsha, Alexandra, Liam Hardy, Susan Flynn. I'm really enjoying, watching and seeing how people are voting, what they like. So thanks everyone for putting your votes there. Those who
even more merit, because I don't know what time must be in Argentina or in Mexico, but like very early in the morning.
Yeah. But thanks everyone voting. It means a lot to us every week to check. And maybe it's a question to you at this stage, and then we crack on with the film finally. But it's week 5, and I don't know which one you still remember. Some of the winners, if you start to look, for us it's really helpful to share these films, to see which films you vote, which films are the favorites, because it's a way to reconnect with the audience. Sometimes we are in our tower and we think these films will be the ones that you like, and then it's great to see how you're responding and which are your favorites. You think on in week 1, Skipper and Pedro Collantes. You think on Matria and Álvaro Gago, 7:35 and Nacho Vigalondo, or Desayuno con Diadema, Breakfast at Enrique's last week with Oscar Benacer. And it's really interesting to see how the dynamics in the votes and which your favorites are every week. So keep doing it, please. We're really enjoying the process.
Please go to Facebook and vote. Alberto, on the housekeeping as well, saying thank you to those who are supporting us, like Instituto Cervantes, London, and Spain, the Culture and Science Office in the Spanish Embassy in London. So it's great to have them. They knew about this and they wanted to support it. So thank you very much. And whoever is listening to us through their networks, welcome to CinemaAttic.
Hola, Alexandra from Lisbon. We got people from all over the world joining. Welcome. Let's crack on with the films, Rafa. Shall we start in the order we have with this fantastic avant-garde?
Yes, it's kind of fake avant-garde, but it feels like using found footage, but I don't think it is. It's just Velasco Broca gets gets to another world and knows how to print it on film absolutely amazingly. I enjoyed that one so many times, really. I enjoyed this film so many times.
Yeah, agree. And in a way, we had Chema Garcia Ibarra and the Attack of the Robots a couple of weeks ago, and it's part of that new wave that started in the 2000s, 2010s in Spain, making a different type of cinema. We were saying you can use the existing tools of cinema and just use them again, and different resources to do stories and narratives, or you can just break them and try to invent or bring a radical approach to what a sci-fi film is, what a genre film is. People like Chema Garcia Ibarra, like Luis López Carrasco, like Velasco Broca are doing so much and so well to Spanish cinema with this, and you see that is mixing that kind of homemade sci-fi film with a lot of meta-cinema references. At times you think on Antonio Mercero and La Cabina, no, the phone box.
Yeah, there are a few things that are amazing. The shot, all the liquid coming onto the protagonist, and it's being shot like very fast in the camera, but then reproduced very slow. So you get like this kind of, again, fake HD, slow-mo substance absorbing the protagonist. It's a very clever film, as you said, done way under budget, and it's nothing to be envious of any other films that had a lot more production behind them.
Yeah, you look at the film and some people might say, what the fuck is this? And it was one of the very first films also to compete in the Quinzen, in the director's fortnight in Cannes. No? It started there, but it went all over the place, winning awards, and it has become this kind of, they call el otro cine español, no? The other Spanish cinema that it doesn't maybe do that well in, it's not mainstream, it doesn't go to box office and make a lot of money, yet it's bringing a lot of prestige, and it's rethinking what cinema is from the very heart of it. I love the film. I love this film a lot.
Yes, it's great, and as you said, it's one of those films that open doors to a lot of other authors, and it's great. It's a great moment for Spanish cinema. Carlos Violade is not a new guy, is it?
No,
but we have
he's not a new guy.
We have been following him for how many years now? I don't know. Since the beginning, I think.
Yeah. You think on both Carlos Violade as director, the whole team behind him, and obviously La Balanza Producciones. Pretty much everything they've done has been in cinematic.
Yeah, yes. It's a pity because they were doing very big in Malaga this year, but it had to be cancelled. This Cuarentena is doing a lot of damage to this industry in particular. I hope at some point the governments stop to think about it, because it's a risk. Tres is a short film, one of those great tiny films that you can watch so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And what it goes about is three guys who cannot catch up, but life has taken them so apart. You can tell that at some point in their lives they were so well together and they did so many things together. And now they can even hardly have a small beer together without the phone ringing or their boss calling or their wife or all the different things life does to people. And it's just so well put together in how long it is. It's 13 minutes short, and it tells so much about life itself.
It is incredibly deep with being funny, but what you're saying is true. Like, it's 13 minutes. There are moments of really quick, fast chat, and there are moments of silence. And silence in this film particularly says so much. Those scenes when Manolo Solo and the other actor one of them has already gone and Manolo Solo stays on his own, asks for another caña, and stays there waiting and, even touching the drops of water, of beer. Those silences says a lot. It reminded me a little bit. I really liked it because I think it's quite true, no? Sometimes, particularly when we've been living abroad for a while, you a little bit more than me, but then you sometimes come back and it's hard to touch really on how are you, no? On what is happening in your life. And sometimes we stay in a shallow, yeah, all good, job is well, love is fine, yeah, sweet, let's have fun. And conversations stay in this realm, no, of shallowness. And it's hard to dig deep and have true conversations. And the film does that so well. It reminded me a bit of Trainspotting 2. A lot of people didn't like Trainspotting 2, but it reminds me a lot of this way sometimes we guys dudes gather and are pathetic, no? When we gather and we start to think on the good old times and think on football or the silly jokes that we used to do when we were kids, and we forget what age we are, and we're back to be 15 years old and do silly jokes, and it reminded me of that melancholic, silly, pathetic way that we sometimes guys can be when we gather in the pack, no? The lads, the laddies together going out and all that stuff.
No. That's criminal, Alberto. What do you do when I'm not looking? Anyway, this is I don't know. I don't have Facebook open, so we don't have problems here, interference. But I don't know how the votes are going. Who is winning at the moment?
I'll double check for you. But last time I watched, we were going with For McNifikos, Venturas, The Hidden Smile, El Sombrero Amagat, and Los Desheredados were kind of topping the rank. But
Yeah.
still, like normally most of the votes happen on Sunday, so I'm expecting some more votes coming in. Yes. And that balance. Helsinki is up there as well. So yeah, it's quite. We have a contest.
It's difficult. I guess these programs we are showing are a summary of the things we like the most, and it's difficult to pick up. For me, it's impossible. I think I voted for all of them. Yeah. I cannot say which one I prefer of this lot. Each one has something. I mean, the next one we're going to comment on the Four McNifikos, like Tucker Davila Wood is another author. We have shown his films before, and this one is just so amazing. How the anti-hero is a protagonist, a strong protagonist, and how can they get to convince you that actually they are not weird, they are not crazy that much, but they're actually rather cool fellows. It's a bit worrying when they say they don't need a girlfriend, they have the dance, no?
They have the break dance, they have the hip hop. Yeah, and what you're saying is true. There is a moment where you just like, wait a minute, are these guys for real, or they really take it seriously? That type of deadpan comedy that they really get in the skin, and they really think they are the pioneers. And then Brooklyn and French hip hop came after. The hip hop was born and breakdance was born in Bilbao, no, in Amurrio, where is in the outskirts of Bilbao. And it was, I think, back in the day, it was really one of those that became very viral, in the early days of internet, because it was a short film that it did well in the festival circuit, but it was one of those early short films that started to be shared a lot. I remember a couple of Basque friends, John and Danny, and I don't know if John is joining there. There you go. John just joined. Speak of the devil. But John or Danny, two friends, showed me this short film back in the day, like 2008, 2009. And it's that kind of, thin line between comedy and mockumentary that works so well. And he did so well in festivals, and it's understandable why he's up there as a favorite this week. And it's hidden, because when you think of Mancuso, this production company, and the rest of the stuff they did, some of the films were way more famous. You look back and you think on Duellum, you think on some of those that did really well in festivals, and you forget about this little gem.
Well, the gems are all. The next one is Helsinki by Juan Beiro. And this is another one I remember the day I watched it for the first time. I remember thinking how clever was the story and how interesting. And I don't think I ever got to write a note myself for my future descendants to catch up with me. but I should do it. I think I should do it. I think we should all leave a message somewhere for generations to come, reminding them of who you were and what things you liked. I don't know. It's such a strong film. I really like it. The acting is marvelous.
It makes me think of that period of cinematic when we were just, well, it was before we started to actually choose the films, no? Like 2014, 15, when the old team was handing over to the new team, and we were just watching. We were helping, but we were just watching, and we were getting surprised, like the audience. And we're discovering or rediscovering a lot of films of those 2 years when we didn't choose the films, and we will look at them with innocent eyes like the rest of the people in the theater. And Helsinki is part of that. And I don't know if with the years we've changed, but I really like these films. In a way, it's helping me to get back to those days when we were showing them in Summer Hall.
The Red Lecture Theater.
Yeah.
Bloody cold place.
Yeah. Oh.
It's an amazing film. It's very human. It's very. She just needs some contact. And talking about that,
Anna Ray on her gaze is really human, the performance, and as you were saying, I think it really connects with you, with me, and with something that we have in common with Velasco, Broca, and Garcia Ibarra. There is this, we find sometimes the world boring, and we need to believe that someone is up there. And we've changed from maybe Catholicism and God to
opinions expressed by Alberto are not necessarily shared by all members of CinemaAttic.
Aliens, time travelers, ovnis,
extraterrestrial. Are very happy with their lives.
Extraterrestrial creatures, no, something else is out there.
Sorry if I kind of pushing through the titles. It's just so we allow the maximum time to talk to the guests. And in particular,
we have only one before the interviews.
Yes, because if we are talking about the strong programs, strong films all together, we are getting to really one of the biggest short films done in Spain for a few years. Really, it's a short film that has won everything. I mean, in Cannes, in the Goyas, in everywhere. And it's a film that we had the pleasure, you have the pleasure, because I wasn't here, to get Laura Ferres in person to introduce it to Glasgow. I missed that one. I'm still sorry for that. But it's one of those films as well about human people, human beings, people, what they feel, normal people, no heroes, just everybody that we know, and how they feel and how they retain a sense of pride, a sense of being themselves, even if the world is going mad. And in the case of this film, his livelihood, he talks about his own father running the company, and he now has to close it because the crisis has made it redundant. And then he kind of moves into the private. Well, I'm not going to tell about the film, but it's just how he talks to people when he meets people in the park. It's so amazing. It's so amazing the little things, the loss when a traditional business like this closes, and how far back goes when he meets people who went in their buses when they were kids in school, and that. It's so touching. It's really, really amazing for cinema.
It is, and it's more necessary than ever, because when this quarantine is going to be over, there's going to be a situation of economic crisis like in that one, and we need to think who's left behind, because someone is going to be left behind. And in this case, many companies like Autos Ferres in that film will shut, and with those companies, there will be so many dramas behind, many family businesses going into financial melt, and there is a story behind. And I guess the key strength of Laura Ferres is where she puts the camera, how she shows that drama with a pinch of comedy, how you see this brilliant non-professional actor, which is her father, Vera Ferres, deals with that situation, how she deals with that, how she relates with her mom, with her daughter, with the camera, with the customers. It's really really touching.
Very well, Alberto. We have some people waiting to join. Shall we just jump on? We're going to meet Fiona Bale and Ventura Durall. Ventura, Fiona.
Hola. Welcome back, Fiona. Hola, Ventura.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
I can hear you well. I can hear you well. We have Fiona Bailey again with us, saving us, and is going to help us as a backup. Ventura is going to go ahead in English, but in case we need a backup, it's great to be. And also for the sake of symmetry, it's better to have four. Before I formally introduce Ventura, I'll do a short presentation that we do for everyone. Ventura Durall is impossible to think on the new Catalan cinema and for extension in new Spanish cinema without mentioning Ventura Durall as a writer, as a director, as a producer. His work for several years as head of the documentary department in SCAC in the Barcelona School of Cinematography, and from the production company that he founded and runs with Salva Sunger and Save Me. I'm forgetting about your other colleague. And Sergi Cameron, of course. Nanouk Films has been a seal of quality. It's been pushing the limits of documentary film, whether that has been on TV, on feature documentaries, on short film. So it's impossible really to understand new Spanish cinema without mentioning Ventura Durall. And it's a huge privilege to join Ventura to our Vermut today.
Yes.
Welcome, Ventura. Benvingut.
It's a very...
Thank you, Rafa. Thank you, Alberto. And thank you for your words.
How are you? Where are you?
I am in a little house in the countryside in Lampurdà, near Girona. I'm here since the 13th of March because I have two little kids, and the day that schools were closed here, we came to here. So we are good. Today, here is the first day that kids can go to have a walk. So now today we are happy.
It's a big day, and I guess there will be a different sound in the streets, but it's a big day after a whole month, no, staying with the kids inside, not even for a run like here in UK.
Nothing. Month and a half, yes.
Ventura, Alberto was talking about your work in the introduction. From CinemaAttic, we have shown so much of you. I mean, the Son, I won't pronounce it properly, but the Sonrire Amagat, we saw it a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, but we have shown another amazing film that you were the producer, Slaughter Ahead, Maro Erce. And last year, we started the Catalan Film Festival with Ojos Negros. Yo la busco, First Strasa. There's so many films that we have done, we have shown, enjoy with the people here in Scotland, that you are either directing or producing, and I think in one occasion, both. What is your situation now? Are you finding the quarantine like the right time to finish those projects that you never had time to do? Or are you one of those that cannot concentrate because you're locked down and just want to finish?
Well, it was a very strange situation. In the moment the virus came, we were close to premiere a new film that's called Ofrena. The film has to be premiered in Malaga the March 15th, and the festival was anulado.
Cancelled?
Was cancelled, sorry, 3 days ago. So we had a nice way. It was Malaga, there in Barcelona, and after go to the cinemas. So now we have to wait. Nobody knows what will happen with the cinemas, when will they open. But at the same time, I have been working the last 2 years in a documentary, and I have been very busy with it this last month because we have to make the premiere in Docs Barcelona in 10-15 days, and we are finishing the documentary. So we were at the end of the editing. We were also, now we have done all the post-production during this month. So I have been busy with these things.
All right. And it's great to hear.
Very busy.
Is it going to be premiering in Docs Barcelona soon,
Yes.
Ventura?
Yes, in 3 weeks. We have to have the master of the film in 10 days, the 4th of May. So now we are with all the process in parallel, just the color, the music, the sound post-production, the graphics. So we are doing in the distance at the same time all these things. It's a documentary that's called The New School, and they have been following two main characters that they are great characters, that they have been doing like a revolution in the education in Catalonia. They have made like an experiment in 30 schools with a new methodology of education, and after these 3 years that they work like an experiment, the government of Catalonia had take their methodology and they have I don't know the word in English, so
go to castellano if you want, and
¿Sí?
I can translate.
Okay. Bueno, pues han hecho un experimento durante 3 años para hacer toda una nueva metodología a nivel educacional, cambiando el propósito de la educación de forma radical. Y después de 3 años han conseguido que el gobierno de Cataluña pues lo haga suyo y lo implemente en toda Cataluña a partir del septiembre del año que viene. Y esto en la película narra los 3 años de todo este proceso, desde que tuvieron la idea hasta que consiguieron las complicidades en las instituciones y cómo han hecho la prueba, el experimento en 30 escuelas, viendo todos los obstáculos que se han encontrado en el camino, hasta que en diciembre del año pasado consiguieron el acuerdo con la Generalitat. Sorry if you explained too long.
So this documentary tells the story of the 3 years during which there's been an experiment, quite a radical experiment to change the educational system in Catalonia. And the government has actually decided to adopt this new system, and it's going to implement it from September of next year. The documentary follows the whole story of this process, from the initial concept and the trial in some schools, and how certain obstacles had to be overcome until it reached the point of being adopted by the government.
Is really interesting subject, obviously, education, and it's some. I remember we had a couple of years as well. This mid-length documentary, Lo que dirán. If I'm not wrong, it's not produced by you, but Nila was working with you for a while, or has been working with you.
Nila has been the editor of this film. Nila Núñez has been the editor of this film, so we have worked together in this film.
It's a very exciting process that maybe, I don't know how similar can be to the style of the documentary that you produce as well on Ada Colau, from the grassroots movement to be the mayor of Barcelona, no?
It's quite similar. It has also Pau has been one of the cameras of this documentary. So we are like a little family. We work all the time together, and it's different. But in this thing of following a character, in this case 2 main characters, it has something similar to Alcaldesa. Yes.
And one of the, I guess, to get back to the hidden smile, El Somriure Amagat, you may be keen. Ventura is not in Facebook, so he can spy, but it's one of the most voted films this week. It's one of the audience favorites. It's been a while, no? And we keep saying that Nanouk Films has done a great job pushing the boundaries of documentary, no? Mixing and bringing elements of fiction and kind of throwing questions and challenging the idea of what is a documentary film. I don't know what you remember of, if we say, The Hidden Smile or El Somriure Amagat at this stage after so many years, and if you could tell us a bit more for the audience how you balance those elements of reality and fiction back then.
Well, it was a really curious case, because I went together to Ethiopia. We were preparing a long film that we went later, that's called The Wild Deer, sorry, Los Anys Salvajes, The Wild Deers. And they went together with Mauro Erce, who is the director of Death Slow Ahead. We went for a week to Ethiopia, to Addis Ababa, just to make a teaser for this film. And for the first 2-3 days, just we were looking, finding people, and at the end we make like a casting with the street kids, and we find this story, and we decided to make like not a teaser but a short film, but we made it in 3-4 days. We just were shooting for 3 days with Mauro, and after I edited it when I arrived. So it was in 2010, I think. I don't remember the year, or 2011. Yeah. It was a long time ago, but the idea wasn't to make a short film. It was to make a teaser, but it worked very well. It went to, I remember, to Sundance. It had a lot of prizes, and it was just a little experiment. We were just playing with with the material with Mauro, and it was an amazing time.
Agree, and moving on to this chameleonic side that you have. You were saying that Lufrena was going to be premiering in Festival de Málaga. Obviously, that is going to affect a lot. Maybe a bit more on the project, but if I'm not wrong, you moved to a radical new space for you that is more closer to a thriller, purely fiction. So tell us a bit more about Lufrena, please, because I think it touches on Greek myths as well, on guilt, redemption.
It's a Greek myth based on the Odyssey. It's just like it's a story, it's a thriller or a drama. I don't know. It's a psychological thriller or a erotic drama. I don't know how you can define it. So it's a story at the limit. It's the story of a main character who is Alex Brendamul, who returns after being disappeared for 20 years to recover an old love, a teenager love, love story. So it's like the story of Odyssey, like Ulysses, who returns after 20 years, but it has also a part of thriller. I passed to the Spanish, so okay. Sí. Porque bueno, la historia es compleja, pasa en dos tiempos, pasa en presente y pasado, y se basa esto, es una historia basada en la culpa y la búsqueda del perdón, pero tiene elementos de thriller, como un tercer personaje al final se estructura en un triángulo amoroso, que de hecho en las primeras escrituras de guión, de hecho antes de ir a grabar la película se estructuraba por capítulos que eran Penélope, Ulises y Calipso, que es el personaje de Verónica Chegui. ¿Sí, no?
¿Puedes repetir la última parte, por favor, los capítulos?
Sí. No, que el montaje no ha pasado, pero en el guión la película estaba estructurada en 3 partes, que eran Penélope, Ulises y Calipso, que son los personajes que interpretan, bueno, que son Jan, Violeta y Rita, que son los personajes que interpretan Alex Brendamul, Ana Alarcón y Verónica Chegui, que es el triángulo amoroso sobre el que se basa toda la historia.
Well, this is a very a complex film, and it takes place in the present and also in the past, and it has a theme of guilt and really searching for forgiveness. So it also includes a love triangle in it, and the script was divided into 3 parts, those called Penelope, Ulysses, and Calypso, and these are the 3 characters involved in the love triangle.
That's right, and I guess it's quite a peculiar situation, because I don't know if you distribute the films yourselves, but now it's a situation of thinking what to do, because you had a key space, in Zonacine.
Questions we have, Alberto, sorry. What happens to a film like this that is ready to go and the premiere has been stopped by this situation we are living? What are the alternative plans?
So at this moment we have to wait for 1-2 months First of all, because we have some aids from the government, so there are some obligaciones or duties, no, that we have to. So how many cinemas we have to go, how many we have to spend in P&A, these kind of things are not clear. So I think that in 1 month they will be clear. They are saying that maybe you can go directly to VOD or to platforms, and you won't have to go to cinemas. Let's see what happens. So there are some legal things that we have to wait because we don't know. At the same time, yes, we have una distribuidora, distribution alpha. We have also a sales agent, an international sales agent. At the same time, I think that it could be an opportunity to work with platforms, to work with big platforms, because so there are no films. They won't have films in some time because it's impossible to shoot now. So maybe it's an opportunity for this kind of films to arrive to these platforms. Let's see what happens. At the same time, we were working on where to make the international premiere. But every time festivals have been canceled. No, Cannes, Carlo Vivari. I don't know when it will arrive, but I hope that in September, October, November, it will be possible to premiere the film in some festival. But at this moment, it's impossible to.
It's difficult to predict where we are now.
It feels like a limbo, indeed.
Yeah. It's a limbo.
But obviously, having directors like Iciar Boyain or David Trueba, yourself having that sweet spot, premiering in Malaga, and hoping to have the normal track of festivals and a busy year ahead, particularly with 2 films premiering in the same month, a documentary and a fiction film. Yeah. You were supposed to have a very busy year, and I don't know how, maybe more on personal basis, how that limbo or that uncertainty is now affecting you or the plans for the next few months.
Yeah, like everybody, the world is changing, and we don't know where will we be. The plans in January, February were to be traveling for a year with these 2 films. And now at this moment, it's the month of May, or almost the month of May, and we have been closed at home. Let's see. I don't know. Nobody knows what will happen. We have to be ready. But
I've heard there is a Catalan film festival in December in Scotland. Maybe.
Oh yeah. Are you sure?
Yes, but I wouldn't trust them. I wouldn't trust them with a spoon.
So. We hope, because this affects us all, really. If the films can't have a big premiere internationally, we are not normally the place where those premieres happen. So if they
Alberto, what are you talking about? What are you saying? We are live. We are live here.
We have to wait more, and everything delays.
Directors kill one each other just to premiere in CinemaAttic. You know that. Everybody knows that. We don't need to keep it a secret. It's another kind of premiere. Well, you have Alexandra Chittel saying that Hide and Smile definitely is her vote. So it's kind of raising a bit of a discussion here in Facebook, your entry in this week's program. I am sorry to be the one who is keeping an eye on the watch, but it's just just to keep it within 90 minutes, this program, and to have it all settled. So, Alberto, I'm sure you have more questions to throw.
I could spend the whole Sunday with Ventura, with a drink, just chatting, with that sun of the Baix Empordà in the background.
Yes.
Yeah. That's nice.
No,
right. Well, let's see. For sure in December. Well, I hope that in December things will be more normal. I don't know.
I don't know, but you want to think that cinemas will be open and maybe with double distancing or something. Yeah. Particularly the element of trust, because until people don't feel.
Yeah, the other day I was talking with some distributors, and they said maybe in July there is an opportunity because it will be warm, but maybe in autumn it returns. Nobody knows. Maybe where will be this window of opportunity? Maybe there is 1-2 months in summer, and after in November, December, nobody knows.
Nobody knows. And last week we were talking with Samuel Alarcón, another director, and he raised a really important issue that maybe it was a key moment when independent feature films, Spanish independent features like Oliver Lache and Con Astrueva and many more were coming and were having normal releases and were having the chance that they didn't have in previous years. And this crisis comes at a moment when that transition was happening. And maybe at the end of this bottleneck of this crisis, what we're going to have is, again, the power for the big companies, for the big production companies, the big distributors, and that independent cinema is going to have to try new things like going into the platforms, or they're not going to have a normal release. I don't know what you think.
Yeah. Well, these days that we have had a lot of discussions with cinemas, distributors. Also, I'm also in Products, that is the Association of documentary producers. And the cinema said, okay, you can go to platforms, but wait, only these films that have had an aid from selective aids in the government, not the general aids that these are the big ones. So they are with this plan. Okay, we want to have the big films with the big budgets and very known characters, and the others can go directly to platforms. So I don't know what will happen, but these are the plans of the cinemas, of course.
Big questions there.
Yes, it's difficult to find, to figure out also when people will recover the confidence of going to a film in a theater with so many strangers in this virus. But it's possible just limiting the allocations and using masks maybe, and there will be a period of transition, but I hope we'll reach back some normality. I can't wait to go back to the cinema, despite all the OVDs, VODs, sorry, and websites and YouTubes and things. Oh, yeah. Guys, sorry to be me. Why, Alberto, why don't you manage their meeting better than me? We have Izibene Oñederra coming in to present her film, to talk about her. It's a pity that we cannot talk to everybody at the same time, but it's just trying to keep it within manageable constraints. No? So it's great to have you, Ventura, and I completely sign what Alberto said. I wish one day soon I'll be there with you, having a fresh glass of cava, looking at that landscape you have behind you. That'll be amazing. Okay.
Or whiskey.
Thank you very much for giving us your time.
Or whiskey, that's the key. Or whiskey.
Okay. That's the key.
CinemaAttic will bring the whiskey.
Thank you very much. So it has been a pleasure.
Fiona, thank you very much.
Thank you, Fiona.
You're welcome.
Thanks for joining, Ventura.
Bye-bye.
Nice to see you. Thanks, Fiona. We'll see you again
Yes.
soon,
Okay.
hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a lovely Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello.
Alberto, we have Izibene waiting to get in. Are we waiting
Indeed.
for Ali, or shall we let her in already?
Yep. Fiona is still here.
Yes.
Yes. Well, Fiona, thank you very much for helping us. And I promise to give you a bit more warning next time.
Uh-huh. Yes. Well, as much as you can is always helpful. Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
Do you need me for this one as well?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay. Are you sure then?
Not sure. I'm sure not. Thank you.
Okay then. You're welcome. Bye for
Thank
now.
you, Fiona.
Cheerio.
Okay, bye.
Okie dokie. So
Here we go. Ventura. Hi, what a great guy. It's so helpful, basically, to catch up with people that didn't have the chance, that have been busy with shooting. I mean, they have a pretty busy life, and it's great that they can join for a little bit and have a wee catch up with people that we love. And the guest we're gonna bring now is another great case of unique artist that we love. There is a hidden secret, a Basque animator that we profoundly love.
Okay, Ali coming in.
Ali coming in, and Izibene in a bit. Hola, Ali.
Hola.
Good to see
Ali
you again.
Bloom helping us today with the live interpretation of Izibene, who is actually waiting to come in as well. Okie dokie, Izibene coming in.
Kaixo.
Kaixo.
Is the classic connect the mute thing? Yeah, there you go. Izibene, we have you.
Sí, creo que sí. Hello.
Kaixo, egunon, welcome.
Egunon, eguardion.
How are you? Where are you?
I'm in Guipúzcoa. Estoy en Guipúzcoa, en el País Vasco, en España, norte de España. Aquí, en casa.
En casa.
Sí.
Good. Before we crack on, the classic intro, Izibene Oñederra is one of our most beloved animators. We had Isa Erguera about 3 weeks ago, and it's another case of unique universe applied to what you will say or try to label as artistic or experimental animation from her very early work. In this case, Surbeltzak, the film that is in the program this week, was her first short film. Then Ortzanak, and she's done collaborations with Isa, with Kuchabelsa, Amar, and so other films. And now Lusawak is the last film that she has done, and it premiered in San Sebastian Film Festival, and it was gonna go to the official competition of the biggest animation festival in the world, Annecy, in France. So it's a big one to be selected for Annecy, and they only select very particular, strong visions, directors, styles from all over the world. And Izibene Oñederra, as Alberto Vázquez, that was a couple of weeks ago, they are both competing one against the other this year in Annecy. Welcome, Izibene.
Thank you. Eskerrik asko.
So we selected the first of your films this week, Surbeltzak, which obviously one can think on ink, one can think on the sound of Xavier Erquisia, one can think on powerful element of the body, or human body, or physicality, plasticity, if you want to say. But I don't know if you can tell us a bit more. What do you remember of this film? Obviously, aesthetics are before narrative in this film, but if you could tell us more about what you remember, what you think when you think on Surbeltzak today.
Bueno, Surbeltzak lo hice hace mucho tiempo, cuando era estudiante de Bellas Artes y era alumna de Begoña Vicario. Antes de ser alumna de Bego Vicario, en mis estudios de Erasmus, dibujé mucho. Y esos dibujos son los que luego me sirvieron para pensar en la animación, en el proyecto de animación que Bego Vicario nos pedía. Cuando estaba dibujando quería crear imágenes simbólicas. Y vais a encontrar en esa animación la mujer que tiene mariposas muertas en la barriga, por ejemplo. O el hombre que tiene... se me están olvidando las palabras en español, qué bien. ¿Cómo se dice? Un nudo en la garganta. Entonces, ese tipo de imágenes me sirven para dibujar, para inventar mis dibujos y crear ese mundo tan extraño, fantástico.
So actually, I created this film quite a long time ago when I was a fine arts student, actually. And before I was a fine arts student in my Erasmus studies, I drew a lot. I drew all the time. And it was those drawings that led me to think about animation. And when I am drawing and when I'm working on this animation, what I'm always thinking about is wanting to create symbols. So for example, here in this movie, you'll see the woman with all the dead butterflies around her or things like that. And those kind of symbols are what I'm using in my drawings to try to evoke this kind of fantastical world in my films.
And
then, I mean, we talk about Ezurbeltzak and Lursagua. I was going to ask you what happens in between, and I know you probably said a whole life happens in between, but what have you gained along this journey? I mean, we met you last year here with Beko Vicario. It's great to see you together, actually, to meet you together. But what is your journey? What has been the journey to get you to this last film, and what are you planning to do next?
It was great to be with Beko Vicario in Edimburgo because de alguna forma conseguí terminar mi película. Me acuerdo de estar con nuestros pijamas, vestidos con nuestros pijamas en el sofá que nos disteis, bueno, en la casa que nos disteis en el sofá, horas y horas pensando en el montaje de mi última película. Fue un regalo y fueron horas de trabajo duro y muy importante para mí estar con Beko Vicario, un rato solo Beko Vicario para mí sola. O sea, fue un gran placer. Bueno, Ezurbeltzak pasé haciendo 7 años Ezurbeltzak. O sea que Ezurbeltzak ya en sí mismo fue un largo viaje hacia la noche, tipo estoy leyendo a Céline y fue muy oscura todo el proceso porque no controlaba la animación. En realidad no es que necesitase controlar mucho, lo estaba inventando mientras estaba haciendo, pero estaba trabajando de una forma que no era un poco anti-animación, porque en realidad trabajaba con papeles dobles, tipo doble folio, súper raro el formato, todos los dibujos están hechos en este formato, súper loco para la animación, todos los dibujos tenían todas las características, todos los movimientos estaban en el dibujo, no iba el personaje aparte del background, no había ningún traveling, no había trucos de la animación, que luego en el camino he ido como encontrando. Hice yo sola toda la animación, mientras comía delante de la televisión, me acuerdo en los pisos de estudiantes, estaba dibujando al mismo tiempo, hacía la animación en todos los sitios, todos me miraban como loca, o sea, la gente me miraba eso. El terminar fue como, wow, me hicieron toda la gente se emocionaba porque había terminado mi película después de 7 años, que nadie se pensó que alguna vez iba a terminarlo, era una excusa para, yo qué sé, para no quedarme con la gente. Entonces, ¿qué aprendí en ese camino? Aprendí a trabajar en equipo, aprendí a pensar un poco en el montaje, o sea, de alguna forma esto fue más animación, la animación en Ezurbeltzak fue más plástico, más bellas artes, y de alguna forma metí elementos cinematográficos en las películas posteriores. Poco a poco como fui adueñándome de otras sabidurías para economizar mi animación y también delegar el trabajo. Otzanak y los trabajos con Isabel Herrera en su película Amar o junto a ella en Kutxa Beltza me ayudaron muchísimo en encontrar formas de hacer.
Izibene, I can stop you, ¿no?
Yes.
For Ali.
You shouldn't let Ali translate first.
Sorry, Izibene.
I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, I will
Ali,
summarize for you.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Puedo repetir cualquier cosa.
No, don't worry. So just to start out, it was a real pleasure to be able to come to Edinburgh and meet you guys and have the kind of collaboration that I was able to have with the other directors that I met. And it gave me some really much needed time to just sort of think and put in all the hard work that I needed to put in to get this film done. And it was a real pleasure for me to do that. Ezurbeltzak was actually 7 years in the making. So it was quite a long journey to get there. And in a lot of ways, I, throughout the process, was working in what I call sort of anti-animation. So I used these just pieces of paper, like I held up before, and every drawing is done on a piece of paper like this, which is, there this papers, which is a completely crazy way to go about doing animation. but every piece of paper has the drawing. It has sort of all the elements and movements and stuff on the piece of paper. So my work is really, I consider it to be sort of finding the story and finding what's in that drawing and bringing that out. And that's how I kind of create the animation. So as you can imagine, after 7 years, people were shocked that, you know, wow, I had finally finished this film that no one thought I would ever finish after 7 years of working at it this way. So I think throughout the process, I learned a lot about working in teams. I learned a lot about how to make my films a little bit sort of more holistic artistically. A lot of cinematographic elements that I then put into future projects, lots of just different pieces of wisdom that helped my work moving forward, and especially with regards to collaborations with other directors, that I have a lot more to contribute there.
Well, you mentioned there, I mean, the professional you came to Edinburgh last year was Begoña Bego Vicario, pardon. Sorry. And I remember that evening that we were thinking on going out or not going out or what to do. And I think Bego was equally eager to have you centering, getting into the zone to look at your short film properly and find the last solutions. Well, I don't know if CinemaAttic should be proud of this, but whatever the tiniest bit we are responsible for.
Co-producers.
Exactly. I want my name in the credits. And the other person you mentioned is Isabel Herrera, which we had a chat with her as well just 2-3 weeks ago. And Kucha Belza was part of the Kalebegiak. Surely pronounced it wrong.
Rafa is getting a master's in Euskera.
Yes. Learn Euskera in 7 minutes. And that is one of the films that really mark a difference, that really turned all the eyes to what was happening animation-wise in the Basque Country. And you were there with a name like Isabel Herrera. So that's part of the journey I was asking you before, but where is it taking you now? Where are you working on now?
Ya es una buena pregunta. Es una buena pregunta y súper pregunta que se hace a todos los artistas, ¿no? ¿Qué tienes ahora entre manos? Pues me gustaría tener algo, pero en realidad no tengo nada.
Your background?
Nada. Sí, pero me gustaría entender que la nada también es interesante. O sea, me gustaría sacar algo de ese nada. Sí, tengo proyectos, pero me gustaría tener un proyecto de animación, un proyecto corto de animación que tuviese, por ejemplo, que estuviese realizado a partir de un sonido repetitivo. Me vienen los tangos. Tengo a Anne Carson, tengo libros de poesía y tengo varias ideas. Sé que no tiene que ser, no tengo que empezar como lo empecé, por ejemplo, el Bruxawak, porque es como muy reciente. He pasado otra vez mucho tiempo y no quiero repetirme. O sea, sé que igual parece que en mis películas todo se repite, no sé, que tengo un background, no sé, un imaginario sexual perturbador o algo así. No sé qué es lo que uniría a las películas, pero seguramente sería algo como oscuro y el sexo estaría dentro. No quiero empezar otra vez dibujando eso. Entonces quiero empezar desde otra parte y va a ser como más difícil, pero en eso estoy. El background es un cómic que estoy haciendo con una amiga y tengo un guión, o sea que es como fácil, tengo el guión y cada vez pues cojo un poco una parte del guión y me lo invento. El guión no está nada cerrado, entonces voy como haciendo, pero es un proyecto como ya empezado, entonces como que bueno, puedo hacerlo cuando quiera. No, ahora mismo estoy pensando en otra cosa más potente, pero no llega. Aún es una especie de nada, una cosa amorfa. Y eso me gusta también, meterme en esa cosa amorfa. A ver qué sale.
Sounds incredibly interesting. We have Paula.
Let Ali translate, Raf.
Yeah. One comment.
So it's a very good question, and I think it's a question that, you know, all people who work in the arts expect to get all the time. But the truth is, I would love to have something in the works, but honestly, I really have nothing, but I'm kind of learning to accept the fact that also having nothing is a good thing. And I'm trying to get something out of that nothing and see the good in that. I do have projects in the works, but I really would love to have sort of an animation specific project. I'm really thinking about doing something that has to do with like a repetitive sound. I have books of poetry, I have, music and things like that that are repetitive and are kind of inspiring me. So I have some ideas, and I know that I don't have to, start things the way that I know they're going to end up. I just need to start them, and I don't obviously want to repeat sort of an idea or an image or a symbol that I have used in the past. But if you see behind me, all the drawings are part of a comic that I'm working on with one of my girlfriends, and so that's been fun. And we do have, an outline for that, and so bit by bit we're kind of adding to our little script, and that's started, but it's kind of a thing that I can work on whenever, just sort of as I feel like it. And so I have nothing really particularly focused and specific in the works right now.
Yes, sorry I interrupted. It's just because I get the Spanish, I just jump when she finishes.
Sure.
I was going to read that the Paula Cebal Fernandez from Avicine is just saying hello. So,
hello to Albacete.
Hello to Albacete.
One of our very favorite festivals, Jose Manuel and all the team from Avicine. Yeah. And Izibene, it was you, not me, but I think it's really interesting topic to touch on, because you did say, and I think one of the reasons we are fascinated with your films is because you see directors that approach realities, even if they are experimental realities or invented realities, but you see directors putting their vision to real life stories, and what you see in your films is just the creation of a very own universe. Like, it's a unique perspective, and it's a very unique universe in your films. So it really feels detached from our world, with elements of our world. It feels the uniqueness. And you were saying that sometimes the influence comes from poetry, sometimes the influence comes from sounds, and in the case of Ezur Beltzak, I don't know if it came from a mixture of those.
For me, your work reminds me of Goya has a crazy night with bacon, and from it comes something that is represented in your short films. Is the detail on the drawing versus that kind of vision, that the darkest Goya and Mr. Bacon showing us how we look sometimes.
Quite a good cocktail.
I'm sorry, Ali, I interrupted you again.
No, you didn't.
No, me ha interrumpido ahora a mí. Vale. Ezur Beltzak, claro, Ezur Beltzak fue una especie de sensaciones. Tenía, bueno, como ahora seguramente hubiese tenido, si estuviese en una, bueno, vosotros sabéis, ¿no? Estar en una ciudad donde no controlas mucho, donde no tienes a mucha gente que confías muchísimo en esa gente, ¿no? Estar como por primera vez en un sitio que te dejen. Yo estuve en mi Erasmus, fue en La Haya, en un squat. O sea, el taxi me llevó a un squat, una casa ocupada, la más grande de Holanda, súper gigante. O sea, fue como, wow, no puede ser, me está pasando a mí. O sea, me emocionó muchísimo, pero luego dentro de ese squat había reglas, había gente muy potente, pero muy loca también. Y esa potencia y locura, o sea, es como que te removía muchas cosas dentro de ti. O sea, que en un momento esa sensación de quiero ser otra persona, me dan la oportunidad de ser otra persona en una parte del mundo, pero por otra parte, ¿cuánto necesito de mi idioma, de lo que puedo, de mis posibilidades básicas de comunicación, que ahora no tengo? Ahora tengo como un diccionario de no sé cuántas palabras, pero muy pocas, y tengo que comunicarme y dar lo mejor. o reinventarme, pero que poco tengo para reinventarme. Entonces es como comenzar algo en otro sitio, intentar comunicar. Pues la mejor forma de comunicar con esa gente en ese squad era con los dibujos, que de eso ya tenía como controlaba. Era una forma de interpretar lo que me estaba pasando, de cómo los veía, cómo estaba viendo, cómo estaba viviendo. Así empecé en Surbenza, fue eso. Nada traumático, sino nada. Yo creo que hay mucho humor en el Surbenza, aunque no se perciba quizás, mucho humor y mucha, así como humor casi sarcástico, satírico, pero mucho humor. De decir, esa persona simple que veis no es tan simple. O sea, esa persona que tiene 3 palabras y dice hi, I like to eat, o cosas como muy básicas, hay algo más. O sea, una especie de reivindicarme como persona más compleja, porque allí no parecía, allí parecía una especie de robot simple, los primeros meses por lo menos. Fue difícil, igual, me alargué.
No, está bien. So really with Iturbesak, it came out of really kind of a series of just feelings that I was having. So I'm sure that you can all identify with, the feeling of that when you go to a big city that you've never been to, and you feel like you have no control over anything because you don't understand how anything works and there's no regulation and you just have no idea. For example, when I did my Erasmus, it was a huge city, and I remember getting there and thinking, oh my gosh, this is so much. But there are a little bit of rules that you find out eventually, and you find your place to have a little bit of control, but it really leads to a huge change, and did for me, a huge personal change and kind of removing barriers within yourself. So it had a lot to do with, you see all these opportunities available, but on the other hand, you are not able to take full advantage because you need this form of communication that you don't have in a city where you don't speak the language, or where you maybe have a dictionary and you can speak 3-word sentences, but you really can't express yourself or communicate. So you have to think about reinventing yourself, but you don't have the tools to do that. So you reinvent yourself out of nothing. And so from that, I figured out that the way that I could communicate with people more fully was through drawing, and drawing was my way of interpreting things and interpreting my life. And a lot of, you can see a lot of, humor and sarcasm and dark humor and things like that are kind of meant to show that even a person who only can speak, 3 words, hello, how are you, bathroom, whatever, are actually a much more complex kind of character or being than might actually come across from their sort of robot-like communication. So that's where I kind of came with it.
And it's something we lived, obviously, everyone who has left or had an Erasmus or lived in another country, you can't say only 3 words, and you have a whole background, years, experience, case, things that you would like to use, but you can't. So it's really, it feels, I never thought that way, but it feels really good. One last question, maybe, because I'm aware about time, but the last film, Lusawak, Izibene, I think it touches, or it seems like the metaphor of the malls, or the figure of the malls, has something to say about what we are living now, about the compression or expansion of time, about maybe we've been going too far, we've been going too quickly as a society, we became very fast animals, and maybe a reivindication of slowness somehow, and the figure of the mall as a slow animal. I don't know if you can tell us a bit more about that element of time, and as an animator, how you're feeling. We discussed this with Isa as well. The feeling of time being in lockdown, in quarantine.
No tiene nada que ver con eso. Y está bien porque alguna otra persona puede ver la película de con otra visión, ¿no? Totalmente diferente. Yo estaba más pensando cuando hice esa película y cuando, el Urshawak es Scenes of Life o escenas de vida, entonces de alguna forma tenía muchísimas escenas y entendí que lo que unía las escenas eran estos moles o estos Urshawak o estos topillos. Para mí los topillos son estas mujeres, por ejemplo Isabel Herrera, por ejemplo Bego Vicario, que me ayudan a seguir haciendo por encima de las críticas, por encima de lo que se lleva o no se lleva, por encima de que la animación es tan costosa que pasan de una animación a otra pues años de tu vida, es locura total. Para mí es eso, los moles muertos significan, los moles muertos en la animación significan esas mujeres que están como transgrediendo sin que casi ellas se den cuenta, y que me sirven a mí para seguir trabajando, o sea, seguir. Luego los moles, aparte de eso, le llamé historias de vida porque tenía muchísimas historias de la vida, y tenía una historia de mi madre con esos topillos. Y los topillos muertos encontrados cuando éramos niños al lado del caserío, en un camino, que mi tío lo dejó para que los niños lo viéramos, y nos pareció una escena súper terrible que nos quedó dentro de la cabeza. Me sirve para hablar también de el poder de las mujeres o cómo logran apoderarse de las situaciones normales las mujeres, y cómo hay una especie, por ejemplo en el entorno rural, una especie de patriarcado y que se sigue dando, pero bueno, entonces hay una mezcla de cosas biográficas, pero claro, interpretadas por la cabeza de una niña que estuvo viendo esa escena con sus primas, y luego lo que vino después de esta escena, ¿no? Que me pareció como pequeñas transgresiones de mujeres, que luego si ves la visión de Bego Vicario, ve que esos pequeños topillos también son otras cosas, como fetos para ella, o como que de alguna forma salen esos topillos en forma de otra, cogen otras formas durante el corto, y pueden tener otros significados. Y eso es eso me parece potente, que haya como diferentes escenarios, y que lo que une a los escenarios sea esa imagen de los topillos. Pero bueno, no he hablado de la cuarentena, ni del tiempo alargado ni nada de eso. Que igual creo que está tan dentro de mí, pues si hago animación, de que tengo que estar en un proyecto 3 años, que es como, o sea, todo low, todo como un pan muy despacio, que igual me cuesta mucho hablar de que eso para mí es normalidad, es así, mis proyectos van así, en ese tiempo, en ese tempo. Me he liado otra vez.
So actually it really had nothing to do with any of that, with quarantine or time or anything like that, but it's really, I like, and it's interesting that other people can have other visions and other interpretations of my films, so that's pretty cool. But what I was thinking was kind of this series of scenes of life, and you know, to me, those the little moles, the little animals, are representative of women like Isabel Herrera or Bego Begoña, that are helpful to me, that are inspiring to me and help me keep doing my work. And especially, I want to point out that when in the movie The Dead moles, it represent especially women who kind of push forward without being recognized, or without even sometimes recognizing it themselves, and who help me to keep pushing forward in my work and in what I do. So it's really just a series of little stories like that. You know, for example, a story about my mother and these moles that had been then left, you know, by the side of the house by my uncle so that the children would see them. And it was this really horrifying image just to see happening on the sidewalk, and that stories like that. And I think that what I'm thinking is that it shows the power that women have and the empowerment that women can get from just living their normal circumstances, and the empowerment of pushing through that and being a woman, especially, you know, through the patriarchy and through the way that society is set up for them. So it was really a mix of sort of these like scenes and this geography and life scenes, obviously interpreted through the mind of a young girl, through a child. And also throughout the film, you can see that the moles eventually they take other forms and represent other things and take on other meanings. And so I think that that is also a really powerful thing throughout the film. But you know, it really did not have anything to do with quarantine. It didn't really have anything to do with time. You know, for me to spend 3 years on one project, it's always slow going. And so it's, you know, it's hard for me to talk about it in this context, because to me, that's just normal life. That's just how you go about doing a project like this. It takes a long time and it's slow, and that's just how it is.
Yeah. And it's really, we appreciate a lot having artists like you, like Isabel, like Bego, that don't follow causa-effecto type of narrative, that express things, as Rafa was saying, it's a really good mixture of Goya, Bacon meets Freud. There's an element of Freud there as well, and that goes and have fugas and breaks into different realities and brings things from emotions, dreams, and we are left to fill those gaps. So it's really good to have you and the great wave of women Basque animators breaking the walls of what is supposed to be animation.
Muchas gracias. Yo puedo decir solo muchas gracias por invitarme. No sé qué queréis que añada. No sé si tenéis alguna pregunta.
No, yes. I remember when you were here last year with Begoña, in the Q&A you did in the College of Art in the Edinburgh University, I asked you both the question, what is more important, the final product or the way to get it done? And at that point, you both answered the journey, the trip you take with your colleagues, other artists, and to leave the time doing the things you like the most. I just stick with that. You prefer the experience of doing it above the final product?
Creo que para mí es más saludable decir que la experiencia es mejor, porque siempre estoy más tiempo en la experiencia que en el resultado final. Pero la experiencia, lo que más deseas es finalizar. Y cuando finalizas ya no estás pensando en otras cosas, no sé, cogiendo otras ideas, aunque no sepas, aunque no seas muy consciente de cuándo empieza a darle vueltas a un proyecto. O sea, que ahora también no os digo nada, pero seguramente está relacionándose una cosa con otra cosa súper pequeña y otra, algo que he visto, escuchado, he leído, ¿no? En esta cuarentena, todas estas sensaciones que es como dándole vueltas dentro de la cabeza, aunque yo piense que no es nada creativo, la cuarentena seguramente están como... Entonces, sí, prefiero pensar que es la experiencia es lo que me impulsa. Además, la experiencia en animación tiene que ver con jugar, con crear. Es como inventarte juegos, cuando inventabas juegos de pequeños con pocas cosas, pero tú tenías tus propias reglas, tú inventabas tus propias reglas y tú hacías que eso funcionase. No era un juego que alguien había inventado y tú haces que, bueno, participas en ese juego, o un juego que los mayores han inventado para que un rollo pedagógico que tú tienes que... No. Tú pasas muchísimas horas, todas unas tardes que parecen vidas, inventas tus propias cosas, lo que quieras, y tiene sentido y estás jugando muy seriamente, porque es súper potente lo que estás creando para ti, como en esa cabeza de niña, con gente que está a tu alrededor, puede ser otros niños, pero vosotros sois los que inventan el juego, y el camino del juego es lo interesante, ¿no? El tiempo vivido, el tiempo pleno vivido dentro de este juego. Y yo creo que la animación, el viaje también tiene que ver. Estás inventando todo, porque no hay nada inventado y no tienes que inventar todo. O sea, cómo hacer todo lo que tienes en la cabeza y aún no tiene forma. Eso es lo potente. Terminar una película, estar en Annecy, súper potente también, claro está. Pero sin el viaje, eso tiene mucho sentido. Es más, bueno, sí, es como el subidón narcisista, que está bien, algunas veces está. Pero no, lo potente es otra cosa.
Thank you.
I think it's, a healthier attitude, certainly, to say that the journey is the more important bit of that equation, because obviously that is where you spend the vast majority of your time. And when you finish a project, you finish it and you immediately pivot to start thinking about other things, and you almost don't even notice it, and you can't pinpoint exactly when that change happened, but there is a change, and you have all these other things going around in your head all the time now, especially with the quarantine atmosphere. We all have things, whether they're creative or not, sort of just rolling around in our heads all the time. So yes, I would say that, you know, the experience is what drives me. The experience is what pushes me to do what I do. And moreover, it's the creative process. You know, it's almost like inventing a game, like you would invent a game when you're a child, and you can make up all of your own rules, and you spend hours or lifetimes coming up with this whole new world for you to live in this new game. And I think that is, within animation, it's like doing that, but in a much more sort of potent and powerful way because of the subjects and things in your head that you're dealing with. And so what really interests me is that kind of idea of creating this new universe, creating this game, and the time that is spent in that new world of the game. And you have to start from nothing. Nothing is created for you. So it all involves the process of coming up with everything, inventing it just out of your own head, and obviously finishing a project and having it selected for the NSC Animation Festival is a huge deal, and it's wonderful. But without sort of the experience and journey of getting there, where would I be? And I would, what's the point?
Yeah, and I guess to finish
Alberto,
it was...
Alberto, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
We have a message from Alberto Vázquez for Izibene that says, bajona lo de Amensi, Izibene. Bajona meaning down sad. I don't know how to say it.
Such a pain not being able to go to Annecy, no? We have Alberto Vázquez telling us, Izibene, how are you? What a shame not to be able to go to Annecy.
Verdad, ¿eh? O sea, no todos los años se va uno a Annecy a pasar allí, no sé qué, medio veranito, ver muchas películas, el lago. Qué mal, o sea, que nos toque justo este año. Bueno, a mí, igual él no, él todos los años o ¿no? En el año que viene igual tiene otra película, pero yo, que me cuesta tanto hacer, es verdad. Qué rollo, ¿no? Qué rollo.
Hombre, when you've been caught with your production, Alberto was here in the program as well a couple of weeks ago, and he said that he will miss it. He really likes when one of his films goes to these festivals, to go there to see other friends, other professionals, to watch films himself.
Let Ali translate a little bit, that Izibene said, no?
Sure.
Sure, yeah. Yes, essentially.
Because I understand Spanish, sorry.
No, it's not, it's not every year that you get invited to go to the Annecy Festival, especially in the middle of the year when it's really nice with the lake, and to be able to see, all the films and spend time there. And it's just a really lovely place. So, it just kind of figures that this is the year that the quarantine happens to us, the one year that I'm going to get to go. So hopefully I'll be invited again when it's not such a crappy circumstance.
We can, Izibene, and Alberto, if he's listening as well, we can create one of those fake backgrounds in Zoom. You can create fake backgrounds, and we'll create one with Lake Annecy behind, and we'll call you both, and we'll say, so here we are, tell us something about your films.
But we have to speak in French.
Let's leave it there, but in the way I really like, Izibene, that you touch on film or the creation process as a play, as a game, because I think it's really important, that playful element in any creative process. And I think it was Jonas Mekas or someone else who said that, in that creative process of filming is living twice. When you film, you're living twice. So thanks for joining us, Izibene. It's always a pleasure.
Yes. Sí, ha sido un gran placer. Muchas gracias. Gracias a Ali por explicar.
Super, Ali.
Mis caóticas explicaciones. Ha sido un lujo.
Thank you, Ali.
Es una cara muy buena. O sea, que no se está pasando ninguna factura en la cuarentena. No sé qué felicidad hay en Edimburgo, que aquí estamos como pues mustios. O sea, que seguida sí.
The cuerpo para abajo, Izibene. The lower bit of is where the tummy, and you can see the belly and all that stuff.
Es felicidad, ¿no? Felicidad.
Thank you. Es que ricasco, Izibene. A ver si nos vemos.
Thank you very much, Izibene, and thank you very much, Ali.
Of course.
Yes.
Thanks, Ali. Thanks, Izibene.
Sure.
Have a lovely Sunday.
You too.
There you go. So very soon, check our website, and there should be a new program, which is equally amazing to the one we showed this week and the one we showed the week past.
It is really good. I'm particularly excited about next week, Rafa. Again, 12 p.m. tomorrow in Facebook and in the social media will be announced, and you will have access to see the films. But we use different formulas of ways to program, and for the last 2 weeks we've been using the same one, kind of balancing comedy, experimental, and bringing different elements. Next week is slightly different. It's a different program. You'll see different type of films, still with those elements, still roller coasting as every cinematic program. All the films are brilliant, but I'm really, really excited. The Kukli is part of the program, one of the most beautiful, tender, deep, emotionally deep films I've ever seen. So I'm really excited that Kukli
is amazing. I remember the first time we watched it down in the Old St. Paul's Church, and how much it took me really until the day of today. We have shown a few times. There is one thing I want to say about this week's program. We have Los Desheredados, Laura Ferres, and she very kindly opened the video to be free view for a period of time. I don't know if this is going to be forever, probably not. Because
for a week, until tonight.
So those who have not watched that film yet, take the chance of watching it for free, or go to Filming and pay very little, a very modest amount to watch an amazing short film. With that said, Alberto, are we being good, keeping on time today?
Yeah, time to enjoy Sunday. Thank you everyone across the globe, the closest in Edinburgh, those far away. Thanks for joining. Look forward to see the final, the winners tonight, and to share next week program. Have a lovely Sunday.
Have a great Sunday and a great week. And in Spain, take the chance to get the kids out.
Respecting social distancing always. And I look forward to see you again soon, Rafa.
You too, mate. You too. Oh, I'm not gonna kiss you in public. Bye.
Bye.